What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley confident in Khamzat Chimaev against Alex Pereira. After Alex Pereira defeated Israel Adesanya in the main event of UFC 281 to win UFC gold, the newly crowned champion found himself in the crosshairs of the division's top contenders. Fresh off a win over Kevin Holland at catchweight, Khamzat Chimaev didn't want to miss his opportunity to call out the 185-pound champ. Taking to Twitter after the event, Chimaev called out Pereira for a fight while dubbing the champion easy money given his lack of grappling abilities. Despite UFC President Dana White recently stating that the promotion is eager to book a welterweight #1 contender fight between Chimaev and Colby Covington, there's been nothing official that's dropped about that fight. This has left the MMA community to speculate as to what the UFC could have in store for the streaking Chechen contender. The way many, including UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier, see things, styles make fights, and Chimaev's grappling ability would make a fight with Pereira a pretty lopsided one. Bantamweight #1 contender Sean O'Malley agrees with the assessment. He spoke recently in a video released to his YouTube channel saying,
"And Khamzat could fuck Alex.
I know.
That left hand is nasty. I would guess if I had to put money on a fight, Alex versus Khamzat, I'd put it on Khamzat.
You would. I think I would too, but Alex
might grab a hold of that mother. I know, but Khamzat can grapple big, scary guys like that. I'd put money on Khamzat.
So you think Khamzat's scarier than Pereira?
Khamzat's grappling is good.
I mean,
dude.
yeah,
it's good, and his strike, and he can knock out. Pereira.
So far, no word yet from the UFC on the situation, but Pereira recently took to social media to shut down Adesanya's claims of an early stoppage. In the post, Pereira stated that his longtime rival has one more chance to defeat him. Given that, it sounds as though the UFC will book a rematch between Pereira and Adesanya for the new year, leaving many to wonder when the UFC will finalize a bout between Chimaev and Covington. Henry Cejudo's manager confirms Aljamain Sterling Fight for 2023. This just in, former two-division UFC champion Henry Cejudo will make his highly anticipated return to the octagon next year when he takes on streaking 135-pound champion Aljamain Sterling in a pivotal showdown. Cejudo's manager Ali Abdelaziz broke the news on Thanksgiving, revealing that the fight would take place next year. Fans have been clamoring for news regarding the return of Cejudo ever since the former two-division champ returned to the USADA testing pool. There's been much speculation as to who he would make his return against. After Aljamain Sterling defeated TJ Dillashaw in Abu Dhabi at UFC 280, the champ revealed that he was going to take some time off before fighting again. This led many to speculate as to what was next for Cejudo, given that a fight between the two seemed more of a matter of when, not if. This week, Cejudo's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, spoke about the fight, revealing that Cejudo would make his return against Aljamain Sterling in a highly anticipated showdown for the bantamweight belt, saying,
Aljo is fighting Henry Cejudo. It's done. You know, it's done. It's just that the UFC said it's done. He knows it's done. You know, I understand he wants a different fight, but the man never lost his belt. He's a two-time champion, defending both belts. And he left on his own. He didn't leave because he lost or injured. He just needed time off.
The fight will see Cejudo return to the octagon after 2 whole years away from the octagon. After his dominant TKO win over Dominic Cruz, Cejudo vacated the title just weeks later. Although many speculated that the retirement wouldn't be permanent, Cejudo did not re-enter the USADA testing pool shortly before the start of summer. When the two men square off inside the octagon, who do you think will leave with the 135-pound title? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Glover Teixeira opens up on UFC booking Blachowicz versus Ankalaev for the 205-pound title. When Yuri Prochazka withdrew from his scheduled UFC 282 rematch with Glover Teixeira next month, the knee-jerk reaction from the MMA community was that the UFC would find a replacement opponent for Teixeira. As the former champion, who lost his belt in the waning moments of his first fight with Prochazka, it seemed only natural that he would remain half of the UFC 282 main event. As it turns out, that wasn't the case. The announcement of Prochazka's withdrawal was accompanied by a report that the champ was actually relinquishing the belt as a result of his long road to recovery. As a result of that, the UFC announced that the co-main event fight between Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev would be promoted to main event and be contested for the vacant 205-pound title. This led many to speculate as to what happened between Teixeira and the UFC that resulted in the former champion being removed from the main event altogether. This week, Teixeira set the record straight, opening up on the situation in an interview, saying, "I told the UFC I would fight Blachowicz on the 10th because I've fought him before and it would be easier to adapt. Ankalaev is a southpaw. I told them if I had to fight Ankalaev to make it in Brazil on January 21, and Blachowicz is ranked ahead of him anyways, so I don't get it. Jan and I are ranked ahead of him. Why do they want to? Man, whatever. We have to stand our ground. It's not like that. Come here and fight whenever I want. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Bo Nickal reveals lofty goals for 2023. Streaking prospect Bo Nickal has been the talk of the middleweight division since he picked up back-to-back wins on Dana White's Contender Series earlier this year. The arguable greatest NCAA wrestler of all time punched his ticket to the big stage when he defeated Donovan Beard back in September. Quickly, the promotion booked him to fight Jamie Pickett in a highly anticipated showdown at UFC 282. Unfortunately, weeks later, the fight was scrapped when Nickal withdrew from the bout as a result of an injury. Although it prevented him from picking up his 4th win of the year, it fueled the fire within the streaking contender to take the middleweight division by storm in 2023. During a recent interview appearance, he spoke about his lofty goals for the next year, saying,
Probably 4. I think I'm in the top 10, and by middle of 2024, fighting for the belt. Yeah, 4 fights. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what makes sense. You know, I got a good manager, so he takes care of that.
So far, there's been no word yet as to whether or not the UFC will try to book Pickett to fight Nickal once more, or if they'll find another prospect for the NCAA legend. For his part, Nickal has remained busy, calling out anyone and everyone he possibly can. Clearly willing to fight whoever the UFC throws at him, Nickal called out streaking contender Khamzat Chimaev for a fight to see which man could remain undefeated. Chimaev, of course, is currently in limbo, waiting to find out if he'll fight Colby Covington for a #1 contender fight at welterweight, or if he'll get his wish of a showdown with newly crowned champion Alex Pereira at middleweight. Who do you want to see Nickal fight next? Give us your thoughts in the comments below and play matchmaker. And now for our breaking news story of the day. Daniel Cormier shares thoughts on Michael Chandler's recent callouts. At some point during the career of many fighters, it seems as though there's some acceptance of the fact that their run at the title is over. Eager to cash in on their career before hanging up the gloves, they shift towards money fights that will do big numbers in order to generate a couple of big paydays. The UFC then books them exciting fights with opponents in a similar stage of their career, and the fans go nuts. It's something the MMA community has seen before, and something UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier thinks Michael Chandler is doing. After Chandler's loss to Dustin Poirier, he spoke at the post-fight press conference where he called out former 2-division champion Conor McGregor. Shortly after that, Chandler took to Twitter to call out Jorge Masvidal for a showdown to determine the true BMF. The call out of Masvidal came out of left field, with many wondering why Chandler, who believed his fight with Dustin Poirier was a #1 contender fight, was turning his attention towards an opponent who wouldn't move him closer to UFC gold. Cormier weighed in on the situation in a recent YouTube video, saying,
"This tells me that Mike's focus has shifted a bit. It feels like now the title isn't at the forefront for Michael Chandler, because the guys that he's calling aren't in championship contention. You all know that Jorge Masvidal's championship days are a bit behind him, and Conor McGregor also is not in title contention."
Masvidal recently called out Gilbert Burns for a showdown next year at the UFC's expected UK card in March. The number 11 ranked welterweight has not won a fight since 2019 and is currently riding a 3-fight skid. Chandler, on the other hand, is now just 2-3 over the course of his UFC career. What did you think about the call-out? Do you want to see Iron Mike square off against McGregor or Masvidal? Or should he fight someone to move himself closer to a title shot? Give us your thoughts in the comments section below. Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the MMA Zone to see more videos just like this. See you next time.